Donald Trump bold-faced lies about the GDP. Now, the gross domestic product of our country has dipped below 0%. It has fallen to a 0.3 in the negative, which means it's the first time the country's not growing in several years, really since the pandemic. Now, why is this important? Well, if the GDP is negative 2 quarters in a row, a decline, that's what leads to and is called a recession, right? You have one bad week, they don't call that a recession. They need to see that over a period of time. Well, Donald Trump is rewriting the formula for what constitutes GDP. I call this gaslighting. I want you to hear for it yourself.
In the first quarter GDP numbers just out today, core GDP, now we're removing distortions from imports, inventories, and government spending, was up plus 3%. But this is Biden's economy because we took over on January 20th.
All right, this guy, by the way, is such a con man. He says we're removing distortions. That's like me being like, well, I threw a no-hitter. I'm just removing the hits that they got off of me. No, you can't do this because people need to know where the economy is. They need to know when they buy something on Amazon or Temu, whatever it's called. They need to know that those tariffs they're paying them because of the administration. They need to know, just like, do you remember when the gas was high a couple years ago? There was all these stickers that said, this is Biden's fault, and they were on all the gas pumps. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? Here we have Donald Trump rewriting the formula for gross domestic product to make the numbers look like it's better off than it is. Is anybody going to buy this?
And I think you have to get us a little bit of time to get moving, but this is the Biden economy.
You need to give us a little bit of time to get moving. Previously, he said, we're going to end inflation on day one. We're going to end the Ukraine war on day one. We're going to end the war in Gaza on day one. In fact, we're going to end it before day one. The economy's so good, fall of 2024, because they think I'm going to be winning the presidency. Therefore, our investors are happy. And now we have this. And the thing that annoys me more than anything about this is like Trump's one of those guys where they talk about, oh, they've made this woke culture, this participation trophy culture. We need to go back to a time where men were men. I remember a time when men wouldn't lie to people so that the numbers fit the world they wanted to live in. I live in reality, and we have a GDP that has fallen into the negative at negative 0.3. Everybody needs to know what that is. And when the shelves are empty because we're not getting any of our imports because we have a trade embargo with China because no one can afford to buy the goods anymore. When that all goes down, what's he going to say? Well, actually, when you adjust for the fact people just started buying too many loaves of bread, we all have it. What is he talking about?
But we still had and we've had a lot of things happen since November 5th that helped this economy, because it was indicating a strong private sector growth, and it only started after November 5th. The private sector started really heating up after the election. Even though I wasn't there, people knew what we were going to be doing, and the private sector growth was actually very good. Very importantly, gross domestic investment was up an incredible 22%, which they had never seen before. Every new investment, every new factory, and every new job created is a sign of strength in American economy and a declaration of confidence in America's future. We really do. We've never seen anything like.
All right, they've never seen anything like this, and we haven't either, because this is the worst first 100 days in any presidency, in 70 years since they've been keeping track of this thing, or even longer. And by the way, what we are learning is absolutely wild. Remember that whole Doge, we're going to get rid of wasteful spending. Trump promises $1 trillion in defense spending for next year. They never audited the military budget. They never went into things that actually matter. They just cut a couple corners and got rid of government programs that, by the way, helped subsidize plenty of farmers. It provided thousands of jobs for, federal workers. So this idea that, we cut all of that waste so now we can get it cracking. $1 trillion. And I think it really comes down to people don't understand how much $1 trillion actually is. I think that's what it comes down to. So when he talks about these tax cuts, I mean, it's absolutely wild. And I'm not afraid to share those that are speaking common sense. Here's former presidential candidate Andrew Yang talking about why the GDP did plummet.
Donald Trump is a moron who loves tariffs. The Trump recession has begun. GDP of the U.S. contracted in the first quarter because a lot of companies made big orders to try and evade the tariffs. Now in the second quarter, plummeting consumer confidence, plummeting traffic at the ports because people are not bringing as much in. That's going to mean people buy less. It's going to mean prices go up. It's going to be terrible, terrible news. Congratulations, America. We elected an idiot.
I mean, what can you say? You know, I don't know. I mean, and it's actually kind of interesting, right? When you see the people that are still saying like, no, I don't mind spending more if it leads to a cause. They're just getting robbed blind and they're okay with it. Meanwhile, Trump's got his e-coin, his Trump coin that's making billions of dollars. It like doubled his wealth or something. Maybe not that much, but it's added billions of dollars into his pocket. And we're just okay with this. Don Jr. starting an executive lounge, which for $500,000 you get access into the room where these conversations happen, where you can hobnob, and we're just supposed to pretend like this isn't insane. Breaking news came out. House Representative Eric Swalwell states that Republicans just voted to give Trump the power to deport U.S. citizens. Remember, everyone said, well, if they came into this country illegally, then they should have to leave illegally. They shouldn't get due process, even though the Fifth Amendment and people get due process, right? Whether you're a citizen or not, you're treated the same here when it comes to having a chance to defend yourself. We did it for literally people like the terrorists that committed terror acts in our country got due process. Trump got due process when he defended himself against all of the different, accusations and court cases he's had, and the list goes on. And we're just throwing it away. And people are shocked, and they're absolutely shocked that the Republican Party in the House of Representatives here is not doing anything to stick up and stop this and save democracy.
Right now, you're not going to believe this. I'm stunned that I have to tell you this. Republicans just voted, every single one of them, to allow Donald Trump to deport U.S. citizens.
Yeah, there it is. He says, I don't even know how to share this news, but they voted an amendment that says ICE can deport U.S. citizens.
Amendment simply says that the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement shall not detain or deport a United States citizen. If you vote no on this, you are supporting the federal government either detaining and or deporting American citizens. I don't understand how you'll be able to look yourself in the face knowing that you voted to allow our federal government to detain and deport United States citizens simply because you do not want to vote against something that Donald Trump may support. Do you have a thought of your own?
No.
Do you have a belief of your own?
No.
Or is everything literally just whatever Donald Trump tells you it should be?
Well, it really all comes down to is that they're spineless. They're cowardly. They're afraid to stand up for the truth. And I think they're on the wrong side of history. And that's, something I don't say lightly. I just think when you look back at it, you're going to see who stood up for the Constitution, who stood up for democracy, who stood up for the rights of American citizens and anybody who's existing in our country, because they do have rights, and who didn't for what was convenient to please the leader of the party at this time. It's just like that, the reporter that was interviewing Trump when he was kind of like pushing back on the fake tattoo MS-13 thing. It's like Terry Moran, the reporter, he's going to be around for a lot longer than Trump is. Trump's a very old man. And a lot of these political leaders, they're going to be around for a long time or not. So what side do they want to be on? The side that pleases, King Trump today, or the side that defends the fabric of the Constitution that our country is made up of? I don't know. You guys know where I stand on this. Pretty wild stuff. And all I can say is, and I do not mean to say, well, like I can't wait to prove people right here, but we're going to see how the shelves look in the next month. May of 2025, this month, will be extremely telling as this tariff war continues. I'm not here to say I told you so. I'm just here to share the news and welcome people to join the resistance. Share this content with your friends if you kind of want to sort of Trojan horse them some of this news. Because, you can be like, all right, here's a Blake Lively story. And the next thing you know, we share some of this and like, oh, stuff I never heard before on the news I'm listening to. We're here to cover it, and I'll be back this afternoon. We're going to have a pretty wild day today. Lots of content coming out. You can join me on the private live stream, patreon.com/Dave Neal. If you're looking to hang out with us as you let the sort of clock tick by on a Friday, mail it in. You don't need to get any work done. No efficiency today. Just hang out and get by. We'll see you this afternoon. I'm Dave Neal, and this is The Rush.